Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation, and as you exhale, that's it, relax those eyelids, your eyes feeling heavier and relaxed, letting go of any tension around your eyelids, your eyebrows, all around your eyes. Just feel that relaxation expanding. As you breathe in and breathe out, just allow a deeper breath to go in, expanding your lungs, activating your diaphragm. And as you breathe out, just imagine you're blowing out a candle maybe 2 or 3 meters away. Slow, steady breath that really feels like on the next inward breath, it's a deep, resourceful breath, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to think of a time from your childhood where there were squabbles from at least 3 or 4 different people, maybe friends you knew, and they all wanted different things. And maybe you can remember that because they all wanted different things, they ended up that none of them got what they really wanted. And then as you got older, you might remember some sports team. Maybe it was hockey or football or something else. And at least one time, there were people on the team that were operating from a selfish agenda. Maybe they wanted the glory. Maybe they wanted to be in a position and they weren't. Rather than acting in the interest of the team, they were acting from self-interest. And in doing so, the team was less effective because of that self-interest. Breathe in and breathe out. And then remember perhaps a social group of maybe teenage friends. And perhaps you can recall a time where 3 or 4 friends had a different idea about what fun would be. And maybe some of the times they all shared in the same idea and everyone had a good time. But I want you to think of a time where everyone wanted to do something different. And in doing so, everyone was worse off. And if you can recall times like children in a playground, a sports team, or adolescents with different ideas about what to do, just let me know by nodding your head. And I wonder what would happen if there were different parts of your subconscious mind. That the part responsible for keeping you safe is a different part that wants you to sleep well. And what if that's a different part that is ambitious and wants you to achieve and accomplish? And what if that part is different from a part that wants you to feel good, to enjoy things, gratification, and fun experiences? And I want you to use the power of your imagination to create representations of these different parts. Maybe you can imagine the part that wants to achieve, dressed, perhaps in a smart suit, holding a briefcase, or just looking very focused and determined. And if you could imagine a part that represents the part that wants to be productive and accomplished, let me know by nodding your head. And perhaps there's a part that has the expression much like a meerkat, constantly checking for dangers and threats. And if you could imagine a part that wants to keep you safe by scanning for danger, let me know by nodding your head. And maybe you could imagine a part that wants you to enjoy experiences. Maybe it's hedonistic, or just desires pleasure and gratification. And maybe you can imagine a part like that, and as you can, let me know by nodding your head. And then there is a part that maybe looks frustrated, that just really wants good sleep, that remembers when you used to have great sleep and hasn't had it, not consistently, for a long time. Maybe they've got a forlorn face, frustrated. They really want it, but they're just not quite getting it. And if you can imagine that part also, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine there's these 4 different parts, and perhaps there's other parts as well that are also involved, but I want you to imagine at the moment there is no organization, agreement, shared vision, no harmony within the group. They're all doing their own thing with their own ideas. And I want your unconscious mind to accept a suggestion that your unconscious does not work best when there is chaos. That all parts of your unconscious mind are worse off when you're acting against each other's interests. I want you to accept the suggestion that working together as a team in harmony, you are unstoppable. But fractured, chaotic, disorganized, I want you to get the sense that you are vulnerable and less effective, that your weakness comes from harmony, not self-interest. And I want you to imagine all parts are aware of my words and my voice. And right now, they don't know if they can trust the other parts. So I want you to imagine finding a place of deep relaxation where these conflicted parts can be open to new ideas, new suggestions, to create the possibility of harmony. And if all parts are receptive to the idea that if everyone wins, harmony is possible, let me know by nodding your head. That's in. So breathe in and breathe out as you open your mind to the possibility of a harmonious unconscious, working together to enable all parts to be better than ever before. And perhaps you can think of ancient civilizations, perhaps the Romans, perhaps the Greek empires, that before there was organized civilization with a shared interest, they were just chaotic tribes all competing with each other. When they joined forces, they were unstoppable. So breathe in and breathe out as you begin to trust in your unconscious mind that it's being restored, that years of distrust and conflict could be updated and harmony could be restored so that all of these separate, disparate parts could work together. What if every night as you lay down to rest, you could know that your mind is working positively, in perfect alignment, seeking harmony rather than conflict? Your unconscious understands that harmonious sleep is beneficial for all aspects of your being. I want you to imagine your normal bed, and imagine wearing whatever clothing you would wear to sleep. Imagine feeling your head on the pillow, maybe the covers. Maybe you can feel your skin on the sheets. I want you to feel a coziness, a warmth, a relaxation. And imagine closing your eyes in that bed. And as you close your eyes, feel the trust being rebuilt between the conscious and the unconscious, uniting all parts towards a single purpose: restful sleep. Envision your unconscious mind as a powerful radar. Perhaps the part that wants to keep you safe is willing to constantly scan and alert you only to genuine concerns, while effortlessly filtering out the insignificant disturbances. The part of you that strives for accomplishment actually starts to recognize that restful sleep provides the energy and vitality required to achieve great things. By allowing this deep, uninterrupted sleep, you empower yourself to face the day with enthusiasm, focus, and an abundance of energy. Your intuitive sense of when to sleep and when to awaken grows stronger, guiding you towards restorative slumbers that leave you feeling rejuvenated, enabling you to wake up feeling like $1 million. Every morning after a peaceful night's sleep, you awaken feeling invigorated, motivated, and truly alive, like you've tapped into a hidden reservoir of energy. I'm now communicating to the part that seeks gratification, allowing them to understand that the urge to snack, once a source of distraction, now dims in comparison to the allure and benefits of a restful night's sleep. Trust is built with real experiences. And as you trust in the power of sleep strengthens, any desire to snack for distraction fades, replaced by an overwhelming sense of well-being and contentment. And I don't know how long it will take before your entire being reaps the rewards of harmonious sleep. And with it, worry diminishes, productivity soars, and the day's challenges become opportunities. I want you to picture all of those conflicted, separate parts, all parts of your unconscious mind whether focused on accomplishment, safety, or gratification, begin to come together in agreement. Maybe you could imagine a meeting taking place with all these different parts where they start to realize that sleep is the key to your well-being, that all parts benefit when you get a great night's sleep, that restful sleep itself becomes a unifying goal for every part of your mind, working in symphony to ensure you drift off easily and awaken refreshed. And you can trust your intuition as to when is the right time to sleep and when is the right time to awaken. But that only works when all the parts of your unconscious mind are on board that you are better off when you sleep well. You can feel safe and protected as you sleep, knowing that your unconscious mind diligently watches over you, allowing only genuine alerts to come through. And if that part that wants to keep you safe is willing to take on this role of being a radar, scanning for real, genuine threats, let me know by nodding your head. And that part also realizes that when you sleep well, you're also safer during the daytime. Concentration, being able to evaluate threats rapidly, keeps you safe, but you can only do so when you sleep well. So recognize that every good decision, every burst of creativity, every moment of clarity during the day is a testament to the power of quality sleep. And imagine that this has been happening now for a few days, perhaps even a week. That these parts, once chaotic and conflicted, are now working in harmony. And with every evening that passes, all parts of your mind become more attuned to the value of sleep, understanding its importance in achieving your goals. And therefore the harmony within your mind grows stronger every night, with all parts coming together to celebrate the joys and benefits of peaceful slumber. From this point forwards, as you lay down each night, feel a profound sense of gratitude towards every part of your mind. All along you know they've had good intentions for you, but the intentions were pulling in different directions. Whereas now you know they're collaborating to ensure your rest is deep and rejuvenating. I want you to choose one hand that represents half of the parts and another hand that represents the other parts. And I want you to slowly feel like you can move them together only to the extent that all parts agree to work in harmony. To raise these hands together, there on your chest, over your heart, and when the fingers interlock, that is a representation that your unconscious mind is willing to work in harmony. All conflicted parts now working with one mission in mind: good quality sleep. In fact, these parts will now work as negotiators in your unconscious mind so that any parts pulling in a different direction will be informed that that's not how we do things here. That quality sleep enables all the unconscious parts to operate more effectively in pursuit of what they really want. And And in doing so, sleep becomes your trusted ally, ensuring that by day you're more alert, safer, and primed for success in all your endeavors. And I want you to scan your mind, but also imagine that room of all those conflicted parts of the past now in harmony, to ask the question, if there is a part that disagrees that good sleep isn't beneficial. I want you to imagine that if there is anyone that disagrees with this vision, now is the time for them to raise their concerns. But if all parts are on board with this strategy, vision, collaboration, and harmony, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And now I want you to imagine you're no longer in your bed. You're in that room with all those conflicted parts of the past, now in harmony. And I want you to facilitate a group hug. All these parts, now a single unified team. And I want you to notice how the facial expressions of each part has changed. The part that wants to keep you safe is now looking more relaxed. The part that wants pleasure and gratification seems happier. The part that wants to get things done and accomplish seems more driven, concentrated, and focused. All parts are on board, but notice the part that has been craving sleep for a long time, perhaps for the first time in a long time, seems optimistic. They have hope. They believe that all of your unconscious parts working in harmony mean that a great night's sleep isn't just possible, it's inevitable. And I want you to thank all of these different parts for spending the time to come together, to see the bigger picture, to realize that working in harmony, all parts benefit. I want you to say goodbye to those parts and allow them to go back to wherever they are in your unconscious mind, knowing that they're now working as a wider team. And very soon I'm going to count from 1 to 10. If you're listening to this audio at the point where it's time to wake up, you can wake up. But you may be listening to this right before it's time to go to sleep. In which case, me counting from 1 to 10 is just a vehicle, a gateway for you to drift into rejuvenating, relaxing sleep. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.